I died, choking on my own blood. The taste of betrayal as metallic as the knife she'd plunged into my side. Waking up gasping in my old bed, the calendar on the nightstand frozen at 6 months before that party. I realized the universe had handed me a second chance, not for forgiveness, but for fire. And as the first rays of dawn sliced through the blinds like accusations, I whispered her name into the empty room, Evelyn. My mother-in-law. The woman who'd orchestrate my ruin all over again, if I let her. It was the kind of morning in suburban Chicago that tricked you into thinking life was fair, crisp October air nipping at your skin. Leaves crunching underfoot like brittle promises. The distant hum of the L train reminding you the city's chaos was just a commute away. But I knew better now. I'd lived this day before, breathed this recycled air, and let it lull me into complacency. Not this time. My name is Penelope Hale. Well, it was Penelope Whitaker back then. Before the divorce papers I'd never get to sign. 34 years old. Marketing exec at a mid-tier ad firm downtown. Married to a man who loved his mother's approval more than his wife's heartbeat. And Evelyn Whitaker? She was the queen bee of our cul-de-sac in Oak Park, Illinois. With her perfectly coiffed silver bob, her junior league smile that hid teeth sharp enough to draw blood, and a family empire built on whispers and well-placed lies. I rolled out of bed, my bare feet hitting the cool hardwood floor of the starter home Mark and I had bought 5 years ago. The clock read 7:15 a.m. Same as always. Mark was already in the shower, humming some off-key tune from a Bears game tailgate. I could hear the water cascading like white noise, drowning out the doubts I'd once let fester. But doubts? They were my fuel now. In my past life, or whatever you call the nightmare that ended with me bleeding out on Evelyn's pristine Persian rug, I'd been the good daughter-in-law. The one who footed the bill for her 50th birthday bash because her precious spawn, Mark and his 2 sisters, Lydia and Claire, were too busy with their own priorities. Lydia, the eldest, was jet-setting in New York as a consultant, which meant mooching off trust funds. Claire, the baby, was buried in law school debt and bad boyfriends. And Mark, my husband, the golden boy architect, claimed overtime at his firm. Lies. All of it. I'd covered the $15,000 tab for the venue at the Oak Park Conservatory, the catering from that overpriced Italian joint, the string quartet she'd insisted on because class doesn't come cheap. Darling. I'd done it smiling, wiring the funds from our joint account, my bonus. Really, while she cooed about how I was practically family. Then, the night of the party, she banned me. Texted me at the last minute. Change of plans. Penny. Intimate family only tonight. You understand, don't you?
No, I didn't.
But I'd swallowed it. Showed up anyway with a bottle of vintage Chardonnay, only to be turned away at the door by her stone-faced butler, her laughter echoing from inside like shattered glass. That humiliation cracked something in me, led to the fight with Mark, the late nights unraveling our marriage thread by thread. And when it all frayed, Evelyn was there, twisting the knife, literally. I padded to the bathroom door, steam seeping out like secrets. Mark. My voice was steady, but inside, my heart hammered a war drum.
Yeah.
Babe. His reply was muffled, cheerful as ever. We need to talk about Evelyn's party. The water shut off abruptly. He poked his head out, towel slung low on his hips, water droplets tracing paths down his chest. Mark was handsome in that all-American way, broad shoulders from high school football, easy grin that had charmed me at that Northwestern alumni mixer. But his eyes, They always flickered toward his phone, waiting for Mom's ping. Party? It's months away. What's up? I leaned against the frame, crossing my arms to hide the tremor in my hands. In the before time, I'd have deferred, said it was fine. Now, I'm not paying for it this time. Not a dime. His laugh was a bark, disbelieving. Come on.
Pen.
It's her milestone. 50th. And you know how she is. I know exactly how she is. The words tasted like ash. I turned away, heading to the kitchen to brew coffee, the machine gurgling like it was choking on the truth. By 8:30, I was dressed in my power armor, a tailored black blazer over a silk blouse, pencil skirt hugging my hips, heels that clicked authority on the tile. Mark had scarfed down his oatmeal, kissed my cheek with a distracted "love you," and bolted for his commute. I lingered at the window, watching his SUV pull out of the driveway, the garage door rumbling shut like a coffin lid. My phone buzzed. A text from Lydia. Hey sis-in-law, Mom's freaking about the party budget. Any chance you can spot her? Mark said you're killing it at work. XO. I stared at the screen, thumb hovering. In the echo of that other life, I'd replied of course.
Sending now.
This time, I deleted the thread, blocked her number. One down. The drive to the office was a blur of golden aspens and minivans, WBZ droning about the latest CTA delays. My firm, Apex Strategies, occupied the 12th floor of a glass tower on Michigan Avenue, overlooking the magnificent Miles holiday prep, strings of lights already twinkling prematurely. I parked in the garage, badge scanned my way up, and sank into my corner office, the one with the view of Lake Michigan churning gray under the clouds. Work was my anchor in the storm. Campaigns for craft breweries, pitches to Fortune 500s, numbers and narratives I could control. But today, every email, every meeting agenda, looped back to Evelyn. The secret she'd buried. The one I'd uncovered too late last time. It started with a box of old letters, tucked in the attic of her Victorian manse during a family clean-out she'd guilted me into helping with. Yellowed envelopes, postmarked from the 80s, addressed to my dearesty, not from Dad Whitaker, who died of a heart attack a decade ago. No, the handwriting was feminine, looping and intimate. Love notes from her college roommate, turned lover, turned ghost. Evelyn had been queer in the Reagan era, hidden it under layers of debutante balls and strategic marriages. When Dad found out, he'd threatened divorce. But she'd spun it, framed the roommate for embezzlement from the family business, got her blacklisted, driven to suicide. Evelyn's perfect life preserved, at the cost of a woman's existence. I'd confronted her gently, once, after finding the letters.
Mom.
These are personal. She'd snatched them, eyes like ice. Burn them. And never speak of this again. Penelope. Some sins are mine to carry, but she hadn't carried them alone. She'd drag her kids into the web, Mark. Oblivious. Parroting her narratives. Lydia, who'd inherited the ruthlessness, cutting ties with anyone who disappointed. Claire, the fragile one, popping Xanax to forget the family ghosts. And me, the outsider she'd tolerated until I became a threat, pushing Mark to therapy, questioning the inheritance games, unearthing truths that could topple her throne. The party was her crowning glory, a lavish affair to cement her as the matriarch eternal. Banning me was the first strike, isolating me from the family optics. The fights escalated, Mark chose her. And one night, after I'd threatened to expose the letters to the press, leverage for a fair divorce, she'd lured me over with a peace-offering dinner. The wine laced, the argument heated, and then the blade from her kitchen block plunged in a frenzy of, "You can't ruin us. You bitch." I gasped, the memory so vivid my coffee mug slipped, shattering on the desk. Hot liquid seeped into memos, staining them like blood. My assistant, Jenna,
Knocked.
"Pen, you okay?" "Fine," I lied, waving her off. "Just clumsy." But I wasn't fine. I was alive. And that meant war. Lunch was a solo affair at a corner deli. Turkey club and black coffee. Eavesdropping on the table of finance bros griping about alimony. "Women like that. They trap you," one said, chuckling. I smiled into my napkin, thinking of the trap I'd spring. Back home that evening, Mark was late again. I poured a glass of Malbec, not the poison vintage from before, and scrolled through Evelyn's Facebook. Her posts were curated perfection, charity galas, grandkids' birthdays, mine and Mark's hypothetical ones, photoshopped in. Captions dripping with faux humility. "Grateful for family that stands by you." "Blessed." I commented on the latest. "Can't wait for the big 5-0. Evelyn, let's make it unforgettable." Heart emoji. Bait cast. Her reply pinged within minutes. "Oh, Penny dear, you know I'd love your input." Brunch Sunday? Hook. Line. Sinker. Sunday brunch at Evelyn's was a ritual, held in her sun-drenched conservatory, overlooking the manicured lawn. I arrived with a poinsettia, neutral territory, and found her in pearls and cashmere, stirring mimosas with the precision of a surgeon. "Penelope, you look rested." Her eyes scanned me, probing for weakness. "As do you, Mom." The title stuck like glue. Even now. We sat, the crystal clinking like tiny judgments. The conversation danced around the party, guest list ballooning to 200. Venue costs skyrocketing. "The kids are stretched thin," she sighed. "But then my hunt." Lydia's visa issues. Claire's tuition. And Mark's overtime. I interjected, sipping. Her smile faltered. "Yes."
Well.
"Family first." I set my glass down. "Speaking of, I found something while cleaning the attic last time." Letters. From the 80s. Her fork paused midair. Mimosa forgotten. "What letters?" "To my dearest E, from Sarah." Wasn't it? The color drained from her face, leaving it porcelain pale. "You went through my things?" "Accident. But they're beautiful." "Tragic." "What happened to her?" Evelyn's laugh was a shard. "Tragic?" "She was unstable." Penelope. "A phase."
Now.
"The cake, chocolate ganache or red velvet?" I leaned in, voice low. "I kept copies. Just in case." Her eyes narrowed. The queen assessing a pawn. "Blackmail? From you?"
Au déclassé.
"Not blackmail." "Insurance." I stood, smoothing my skirt.
See you at the party.
As I drove away, her glare burned in my rear view. The game was on. The weeks blurred into a tense tango. Work ramped up. A pitch for a national beer brand kept me late, but I used the hours to plot. I hired a PI. Discreet. The kind who billed in cash. Ex-cop named Rizzo. With a Rolodex of skeletons. "Dig on Evelyn Whitaker," I told him over burner phone. Everything. His report landed a month in Evelyn's charity foundation, a front for laundering kickbacks from real estate deals. Sarah's suicide? Staged. Toxicology showed overdose on pills Evelyn had access to. And the kicker, Mark knew. Not all, but enough. Emails from 5 years back. Him advising her on damage control for a whistleblower, me. Unknowingly, when I'd flagged irregularities in the family books. Betrayal layered like onion skin,
Peeling back to rot.
Mark noticed the shift. Dinners grew silent. His touches rebuffed. What's with you?
Pen?
You're like a ghost. I smiled.
Cold.
Just planning the perfect gift for your mom. The party loomed. Invitations gold embossed. RSVPs flooding in. Evelyn called twice. Voice honeyed venom. Darling. About those letters, misunderstanding. Burn them. And we'll say no more. I hung up without a word. November swept in like a cold front, frosting the windows of our Oak Park home and frosting relations to match. Mark's firm had landed a big contract, some high-rise downtown, and he buried himself in blueprints, coming home smelling of sawdust and scotch. I didn't mind. Absence made my machinations easier. Rizzo's second dossier was thicker, delivered in a plain manila envelope to my office P.O. box. I read it in the ladies' room. Door locked. Heart pounding like a bass line at a South Side club. Evelyn's web extended further than I'd imagined. The foundation skimmed thousands from donors, funneled to offshore accounts. Sarah's death? Not just covered up, Evelyn had forged the coroner's report, bribing a county clerk with a donation. And Lydia? Complicit. Handling the discreet transfers from her Manhattan pied terra. Claire, though, poor Claire, was the wild card. Emails showed her confronting Evelyn years ago. Mom, this isn't right. Sarah was my godmother. What did you do? Reply, mind your studies. Or lose your allowance. Guilt had twisted Claire into a shell. Her law school focus, a mask for therapy sessions and relapses. Mark's involvement chilled me deepest. A 2018 chain, Mom. Pens asking questions about the books.
Should I
handle it? Evelyn, divert her. She's temporary.
Temporary.
That's what I was, a placeholder until I outlived my usefulness. I shredded the copies. But the originals? Tucked in a safety deposit box under a false name. Alongside a USB of scanned docs. Leverage wasn't just a weapon, it was armor. At work, I channeled the rage into brilliance. Our beer campaign won the client. My boss clapping me on the back. Penelope Hale. You're a shark. I laughed, thinking of Evelyn's glassy stare. If only she knew. Home was a minefield. Mark suggested couples counseling. For us. Babe, but I demurred. After the party. Priorities. He nodded, relieved, and I hated him a little less for his blindness. Or maybe more. Evelyn's texts escalated. Penny, let's talk. Family mediation? I replied with party suggestions, fireworks. A photo booth with props mocking her youth. She loved it. The sadist. Lydia called. Voice syrupy over speaker.
Sis.
Mom says you're being difficult. What's the tea? I twirled pasta on my fork.
Casual.
Just ensuring the party's fair. Why aren't you chipping in? Silence. Then a huff. I'm busy.
Besides.
Your family now. Step up. Family, I echoed. Like Sarah was?
Click.
Line dead. Claire was next, Unprompted. A late-night voicemail. Slurred. Pen?
I.
I remember you finding those letters. Don't tell.
Please. Mom.
She's all I have. I called back at dawn. Her groggy. Claire, it's time to choose. The party's your chance. Chance for what? Truth. She hung up, but the seed was planted. The guest list arrived via courier, vellum paper. Scripted font. 200 names, local Pauls. Society wives. Mark's firm partners. My name? Absent. Bold move. Evelyn. I RSVP'd anyway. Wouldn't miss it.
P.
Her reply. Intimate affair.
Sorry. Dear.
I forwarded it to Mark. See? His response, she stressed.
Ignore.
Ignore. The word that killed me last time. I escalated. Anonymous tip to the Chicago Trib's Metro desk. Whitaker Foundation irregularities. Check public records. Nothing printed yet. But ripples started. Evelyn's voicemails frantic. What have you done? Thanksgiving was a farce. We drove to her manse. Turkey basted in tension. Mark carved. Oblivious. Lydia preened over pie. Claire fidgeted with her napkin. Evelyn presided. Eyes darting to me like a hawk spotting prey. To family, she toasted. Glass raised. Our eyes locked. Mine said game on. Hers, you'll regret this. Post-dinner. In the powder room. She cornered me. The leak. Was it you? I powder my nose.
Slow.
Paranoia doesn't suit you.
Mom.
Whatever your game. Penelope. You'll lose. Mark's mine. Always has been. I met her gaze in the mirror. Not after they see the home movie. Her laugh was brittle. Movie. Sarah's last letter. Videotaped confession. Mailed to the Trib tomorrow, unless you uninvite everyone but me. Bluff. But her Blanche? Priceless. The drive home. Mark's silent. What was that with Mom? Women talk, I said. Pass the AUX. Play some Springsteen. He complied. Born to run, blasting as suburbs blurred. Freedom tasted like exhaust. December dawned festive. Lights strung like nooses. My PI tailed Evelyn meetings with lawyers. Frantic calls to accountants. The Trib piece dropped. Questions surround Whitaker charity funds. No names, but hints. Her stocks dipped. Invitations retracted. Claire texted. Saw the article. Holy shit. Meet? We did. At a dive bar in Wicker Park, neon signs flickering. Jukebox crooning Patsy Cline. She nursed a gin and tonic. Eyes red-rimmed. Mom's losing it. Blaming you. Good.
Your.
Different.
Pen.
Scary. I slid a folder across. Redacted copies of the docs.
Read.
Then decide.
She did.
Tears splashing pages. I knew. Suspected.
God.
What she did to Sarah. Sarah was your godmother. Fight for her. Claire nodded.
Fierce.
The party. I'll crash it. With proof. Alliance forged. Mark confronted me that night. Face thunderous. Mom's hysterical. The article, did you? I packed a bag.
Calm.
Staying at Jenna's. Clear your head. He grabbed my arm. Penelope.
Don't.
We're in this together. Together? I wrenched free. Like when you handled my questions. Or when you let her ban me.
His eyes widened.
What are you? I slammed the door, tires squealing into the night. First controversial decision. Leave him in the dark.
Force his hand.
The office buzzed with holiday cheer, Secret Santa, ugly sweaters. I wore black, toasting with eggnog, to new beginnings. Evelyn's next move, a certified letter. Hand-delivered. Cease and desist. Slander will not be tolerated. I framed it. New Year's Eve. Solo at a rooftop bar overlooking the loop. Fireworks exploding like vengeful stars. I texted Claire. Ready? Her. Born ready. The party was January 15th. Countdown ticking. January in Chicago is a bully, wind whipping off the lake like it's personally offended, snow piling up in dirty drifts, holidays glitter turning to gray slush. I thrived in it, the cold mirroring the ice in my veins. Work was a whirlwind. The beer campaign launched. Billboards of frothy pints beaming down Randolph Street. My name in fine print. Colleagues toasted me at the holiday wrap party. I smiled, plotting. Home, or what was left of it, was a ghost town. Mark's text pleaded, "Come back. Let's talk." I replied once, after the party. Silence from him after that. But Evelyn's camp buzzed. Lydia unfriended me on Facebook. A digital guillotine. Claire and I met weekly coffee shops in Logan Square. Her law texts abandoned for strategy sessions. She was thawing, the guilt morphing to grit. "You're really doing this," she said one afternoon. Snowflakes melting on her scarf. Exposing her. Ruining everything. Everything was already ruined, I countered.
Stirring my latte.
The day she killed Sarah. Claire winced. Allegedly. Docs don't lie. Neither does your memory.
She sighed.
Pulling up her phone. A draft email to the family group chat. We need to talk about Mom. The truth. Unsent. Hit send at the party, I urged. Mid-toast. Her nod was resolute. Rizzo's final report. Evelyn liquidating assets. Chartering a jet to the Caymans. She spooked, he grunted over the phone. Watch your back. I did, one hand on pepper spray, the other on my new Glock. Permit fresh from the range. Controversial? Arming up for a family feud. But in America, self-defense is sacrament. Mark showed up at the office Friday, unannounced. Disheveled in a pea coat, eyes bloodshot. Pen.
Please. Moms.
Breaking. The foundation's under audit. I buzzed him into the conference room. Glass walls witnessing. Good. Good? This is our life. Your life.
Mark.
I was the maid. The bank. The fool. He paced. Hands raking hair. I love you. More than. Her. I laughed. Bitter. Prove it. Show up for me at the party. Not her. He froze. You're going? After the ban. Damn right.
Then.
I'm with you. Lie or truth. Time would tell. The party eve. I prepped in a hotel suite, neutral ground. View of the Art Institute's lions dusted in frost. Black dress. Sheath cut. Diamonds from my grandmother, not Evelyn's gaudy loners. Makeup sharp, red lips like war paint. The image prompts kitchen confrontation? That was tonight's preview. Evelyn's manse glowed like a beacon. Valet parking Ferraris under heated tents. I arrived fashionably late. 8 p.m. The string quartet sawing Vivaldi in the foyer. Guests milled, aldermen in tuxes, socialites dripping Chanel, air thick with perfume and pretense. The butler, same stone-faced Brit from before, blocked the archway. "Miss Hale, I'm afraid." "Save it, Reginald." I thrust the invitation I'd forged, gold-embossed. Perfect replica. "Evelyn's expecting me." He hesitated, voices swelled behind. I slipped past, into the throng. The conservatory was a winter wonderland, twinkling lights, ice sculptures of swans, tables groaning under caviar and fillets. Evelyn held court by the grand piano, silver gown shimmering, laughter a crown. Mark hovered, suit rumpled, scanning the crowd. Our eyes met across the room. His widened, hers narrowed to slits. I wove through, accepting flutes of champagne, air-kissing cheeks. "Penelope, you made it," a distant cousin trilled. "Wouldn't miss," I purred. Evelyn detached, gliding over, smile a rictus.
Darling.
"Bold of you. Thrilling. Isn't it?" I clinked her glass. "Happy birthday." Mark approached.
Tentative.
"Pen. Later." I brushed past, toward the head table. Claire lurked by the bar, pale in emerald silk. She nodded, "Go time." The quartet paused. Evelyn took the mic. Voice honey over gravel. "Friends, family, to 50 years of blessings." Applause. She scanned me, venomous. "And to those who've contributed so generously." Eyes on me. Whispers rippled. I stepped forward, uninvited. A toast of my own.
Gasps.
Evelyn's grip whitened on the stem. "Penelope, to truths long buried." I raised my glass, voice carrying. "Like Sarah Ellis, who loved you once, who you silenced forever." Silence crashed. Guests froze. Forks midair. Evelyn's laugh tinkled.
Forced. Nonsense.
Old gossip. Claire surged forward. Phone aloft, email sent. Docs attached to the group chat. Now pinging every phone. Not gossip.
Mom.
Murder. Chaos erupted. Phones buzzed. Alderman excused himself. Lydia shrieked. "What the fuck?" "Claire." Mark grabbed my arm. "Pen. Stop." I wrenched free. "Choose."
Mark. Now.
Evelyn lunged, nails raking my cheek. "You bitch. You'll pay." Security, her private muscle, closed in. But Rizzo materialized from the shadows. Badge flashing, retired, but imposing. Chicago PD. "Evelyn Whitaker, you're under arrest for fraud and we'll add the rest."
Cuffs clicked.
She spat. "This is my house." "Not anymore." As they let her out, guests filming on iPhones, I turned to Mark. His face crumpled. "Love? Loss?"
Pen.
"I didn't know." "You did." The betrayal stung fresh, but hollow now. Claire hugged me,
Sobbing.
"Thank you." Lydia stormed past. "You're dead to us."
Good.
The quartet fled. The party dissolved into scandals whispered over salvaged cake. I slipped out, coat over gown, snow falling soft. In the valet line, Mark caught up.
Wait.
"We can fix this." "Fix." I faced him, wind tousling my hair. "You chose her." "Every time. I choose you now." "Too late." I drove into the night, radio humming Adele. We could have had it all. The fallout hit like a polar vortex, freezing the Whitaker dynasty in scandal's grip. By morning, the Tribune's headline screamed, "Socialite matriarch arrested at birthday bash. Fraud. Embezzlement allegations." My name? Buried in the byline as a family insider, anonymous shield courtesy of Rizzo's connections. Oak Park buzzed, neighbors peeking through blinds. Texts from acquaintances. "OMG. Was that your party?" I ignored them. Holing up in the hotel. Room service eggs Benedict my only company. Claire called first. She's denying everything. Bail hearing tomorrow. Lydia's lawyering up against us.
Us.
I smiled into the phone.
Yeah.
Us. Mark's texts flooded. Please.
Pen.
Meet me. I blocked him. The digital equivalent of changing locks. Work called. Emergency Zoom from Apex. Penelope. The client's spooked by the headlines. Lay low. My boss. Ever the pragmatist. Lay low. I laughed. This is gold. Human interest angle. Redemption arc.
He paused.
Risky.
But.
Your call. Controversial decision to leverage the chaos. I pitched a memoir outline to a lit agent contact, from Golden Girl to Ghost, surviving family betrayal. She bit. Explosive. 6 figures. Easy. But revenge wasn't just ink and cash. It was dismantling, brick by venomous brick. Bail hearing. I attended, incognito in the gallery, scarf muffling my face. Evelyn emerged, pale but poised, pearls choking her neck. $500,000 bond, posted by a mystery donor, Lydia. No doubt. Her eyes found mine across the courtroom. Promise of hellfire. Post-hearing, Claire and I debriefed at a Loop diner, formica tables, pie under sneeze guards. Mom's cutting us off, she said. Fork stabbing, cherry filling. Trust funds frozen. Freedom, I countered. She eyed me. You don't get it. This is all we knew. Then learn new. I slid a check, my bonus.
Halved.
Starter fund. Law school.
Therapy.
Yours. Tears welled. Why? Because Sarah deserved better. And so do you. Alliance deepened. Mark ambushed me at the hotel bar that night. Whiskey neat. Ty askew. Pen. Hear me out. The bartender poured my martini. I sipped. Waiting. I was wrong. Scared.
Mom.
She molded me. Abused you. I corrected. Emotional incest. Read a book. He flinched. Divorce? Really? Filed yesterday. Lie, tomorrow's mail. But custody? If we ever. No kids. Yet. His voice cracked. I want that. With you. Heart twinge. Old love dying hard. Too late.
Mark.
You buried the knife with her. He left. Shoulders slumped. I finished my drink. Tipsy on closure. The trib followed up. Deeper dive. Sarah's suicide, reopened as homicide. Evelyn's lawyer spun tragic accident, but DA smelled blood. Indictments loomed fraud, forgery, manslaughter. Lydia's countermove, lawsuit against me, defamation. Served at work. Process server smirking. Jenna gasped. I framed the papers beside Evelyn's cease and desist. Agent called. Bidding war. Netflix wants rights. Fame's double edge. Paparazzi at my door. How does it feel to topple an empire? I flipped them off. American as apple pie. Claire crashed with me. Her dorm sublet.
Nights.
We binged true crime docs, laughing at the ironies. You're my hero, she slurred one tipsy eve. You're my why, I replied. Sisters. Forged in fire. Controversial 3. Anonymous donation to LGBTQ plus youth shelter. In Sarah's name. $10,000, my savings gutted. Worth it. Seeing the thank you plaque in my mind's eye. Mark's last plea, handwritten letter, slid under the door. I loved you wrong. Forgive? Burned it in the tub, ashes swirling down the drain like regrets. Evelyn's trial prep leaked, plea deal in works. Reduced charges for cooperation. Naming names, contractors,
Clerks. But Sarah?
Pinned on a phantom accomplice. Not enough. I met Rizzo for lunch, Greek spot in Greektown. Gyros dripping. Need a plant, I said. Inside her cell block. He raised a brow. Jailhouse whisper?
That's gray.
Gray's my color. Cash exchanged hands. The plant, ex-con named Tina. Evelyn's type, hardened, hungry for stories. Fed her the letter's excerpts.
Coach the script.
Weeks later, audio surfaced anonymously. Of course, Evelyn in visitation, boasting to her new friend. Sarah was weak. I did what I had to. No regrets. DA's office perked. Manslaughter upgraded to murder 2. Lydia dropped the suit. Backlash too hot.
Claire testified.
Voice steady. She destroyed us all. Mark testified for the prosecution. Tears streaming. I knew. Ignored. For peace. Redemption or survival? As verdict neared, I walked the lakefront, waves crashing, gulls screaming. Wind whipped my coat. I felt alive, unburdened. But twists whisper. Spring teased Chicago, crocuses pushing through mulch, air warming to promise. The trial consumed the city. Evelyn Whitaker, once untouchable, now defendant in a fluorescent-lit courtroom, her silver bob limp, pearls traded for an orange jumpsuit that clashed with her pallor. I watched from the back. Claire beside me, her hand in mine. Lydia absent, exiled to New York, disowned by association. Mark, front row, suit crisp, eyes hollow. Prosecution painted Evelyn as monster, ledgers of lies. Sarah's ghost haunting every exhibit. Defense, desperate widow, cornered by circumstance. But the audio, Tina's gift, sealed it. Jurors gasped. Evelyn's glare could curdle milk. Closing arguments. DA thundered. Justice for the silence. Her lawyer whimpered. A life's work, tarnished by one mistake.
Mistake. Ha.
Deliberation dragged 3 days of headlines. Talk radio frenzy. I worked remotely. Memoir drafting in fevered bursts. Chapters on betrayal's bloom. Revenge's thorn. Claire paced the hotel, now our crash pad. What if they acquit? They won't, but doubt niggled. Mark cornered me post-adjournment. Courthouse steps mobbed.
Pen.
After this. Us. I halted. Taxis honking chorus. Us? You're a footnote. Hurt flashed. I testified. For you. For absolution. I walked away. Heels clicking finality. Verdict day. Guilty. Murder 2. Fraud counts stacking like indictments. 20 to life. No parole, first 15. Evelyn's scream echoed as bailiffs cuffed her, raw, primal. Eyes locked on mine. This isn't over.
But it was.
Media storm. My expose went viral. Netflix greenlit the series. Book deal ballooned. Speaking gigs poured in women's shelters. True crime cons. Claire aced finals. Internship at the DA's office. You're doing, she toasted at our victory dinner. Girl and the goat. Rooftop view of the bean glinting. Ours. I corrected.
Clinking.
Mark's divorce papers arrived. Signed. No contest. Alimony waived. For what it's worth. Worthless. Summer bloomed. I moved to a Lincoln Park walk-up. Lake Breeze is my new ritual. Memoir launch. Packed house at Seminary Co-op. Fans queuing for signatures. How'd you survive? One asked. By dying first, I quipped.
Truth.
Veiled. Twist came autumnal. Leaves turning traitor. Package at my door. Unmarked. Postmarked Caymans. Inside. The original letters. Singed edges. Note in Evelyn's script. Burned. But not forgotten. Your turn soon. Chills spidered. She'd smuggled it. Jailhouse Network?
Or.
Rizzo called. Tina flipped. Sold the audio to Evelyn's people. Double cross. Betrayal's echo. Controversial 4. My revenge. Incomplete. But I didn't burn them. Mailed copies to Claire. The DA insurance reloaded. Evelyn's appeal dragged. Appeals court denied. Life. Effectively. Mark remarried. Quiet ceremony. Per Claire's leak. To a nice girl. Unscarred. I dated. A barista with tattoos and laughs. Fleeting. But forward. One night. Insomnia gnawing. I revisited the kitchen scene. The rain-lashed window.
Crumpled invite.
That was the spark. This. The inferno. No happy ever after. But justice? Close enough. In the end, I toasted alone. Malbec deep. To second chances. To the betrayed who rise. Evelyn rotted in Supermax. Her empire ash. And me, Penelope Hale. Reborn. Unbanned. Unpaid. Unbreakable.